Hello, everybody. I hope that you all had a lovely week. I myself had a very long, or as I like to call it, a long, short week, because we got Tuesday off because Tuesday is Canada Day. So I went into work on Monday, then I got Tuesday off, and then I had to go back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I always call it a long, short week because it's technically shorter than a normal week would be, but you have to do the same amount of work in a reduced amount of time. So, long, short week, and it's been especially busy. So, yeah, but it is now at its end, and today we celebrate the 4th of July. We celebrate America's independence. And what better way to celebrate America's independence by taking a look at a bill that will increase America's dependence on debt, among a lot of other things. But we're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna take a look at this together. So I'll just give it a second for people to jump in. Despite what I say a lot of the time about the U.S., particularly the U.S. government, I really don't have anything but affection for the American people and for a lot of their country. There's definitely things I disagree with. Culturally, I am from Canada after all, but by and large, you guys are my cousins. In a way, you represent a lot of the best of what the collective West has been able to produce. Um, it's just I get frustrated because, like I said, America is like, to me as a Canadian, like, you have an older brother who's like a Chad. He's tall, he's good looking, he's successful. He's at that, like, he's riding high. He's always there to look out for you. And then you just watch him become like a gambling addict and become like a gambling addict and start shooting drugs and getting drunk. And every night he comes home and he starts hitting you, and it's just kind of depressing to even watch. So that's kind of how I feel about the United States of America. Now, I know that Keto Casino or someone's probably also on, but I wanted to get some streaming in. There's a couple videos I'm working on. I'm just delaying a little bit till we get this started. I have one that I've been working on for a while. I'm trying to make a media taste matrix to try to see if I can quantify people's taste in, like, movies and video games and books and stuff, which is going pretty well. So that might be done this week, and I kind of want to do an update on the Ukraine cinematic universe because a lot's happened, and not much, but also a lot. So the big beautiful bill is what Trump called it, and I think, let me see, I think it actually says that on the Congress's website, which once again just kind of shows the kind of country America is. Yes, here it is. Congress.gov. One big beautiful bill act. They actually named it that, which, okay. So, a little background. America, in a lot of ways, is this weird chimera of a whole bunch of different stuff that's kind of welded together, and it functions well enough to just keep lurching forward, like some sort of I don't know, some sort of cyborg creature. Like, the American healthcare system is probably the ultimate example of this, as it combines, like, the worst aspects of the private and public healthcare system into something where you spend more money per capita than Canada, but not everybody gets coverage. The education system also works like that. And the budgeting system works like that. To my understanding, now what actually counts as the budget in the U.S. is somewhat confusing, but they have not actually passed a budget since 1996. Basically, what happens is every year we have continuing resolutions and partial shutdowns where they just put a whole bunch of stuff together in, like, a giant omnibus bill and then pass it. And they often will use something called budget reconciliation, which is kind of just a way to get around having to actually support it. Because I think normally speaking, a budget would need 60 votes to pass filibuster in the Senate. But they do this budget reconciliation thing as a way of getting around it. So basically, what winds up happening is, because it's not a budget, it's not really a specific thing. Whoever's in power will just shove as much stuff into this omnibus continuing resolution as they can, and a lot of it will wind up being bribes and carve outs and exemptions and stuff like that. Largely just because when you have a House and Senate that are this close, one vote literally means the difference between life and death for a bill. So they basically just need the yeah. So people can basically just demand whatever they want, and they can get it. So you'll have just a bunch of weird stuff as we go through this. Now, we'll go through two different sources. Honestly, I think that the best summary I've seen is on Wikipedia. I know it's Wikipedia, but I don't know. Just a lot of the other sites just don't really cover it particularly well. So we'll go through, and if we need to look up something specific, it is. So this is what Trump did. This is the one big, beautiful bill where we're going to do everything in one go. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, let me see, what is the amount? It will cost, I think, like $3 trillion. Yeah, the bill costs about $3 trillion, but as I've said, like, at this point in time, you might as well, like, just spend the money. I mean, apparently we're getting, like, mass deportations. They're, like, quintupling ICE funding, so, I mean, that's something. That's something. Let's see here. Okay, so let's start going through it. It actually, I was expecting this to just be complete and total garbage, but it's kind of more of a mixed bag than I first thought. Okay. So, permanently extends the individual tax rates Trump signed into law in 2017. I'm not super knowledgeable about historic American taxes. My understanding is Trump issued rather sizable tax cuts back then that have been in place. Looking at it briefly, it looks like it's mostly affecting, I guess, people of all income levels. It looks like it's about 2 to 4% across the board, with it mostly impacting middle class people. So it keeps those permanent. Those were due to expire. So if you're married or you're somebody who works for a living, I mean, that's good for you. That is good. That is a benefit to that. Okay, number 2. Increase the state and local tax deduction to $40,000. So I looked this up because I was kind of interested in it. So in the United States, I think you do this in Canada, you can deduct some of your state and local tax spending from your income taxes. So if you pay income tax in your state, you can write some of that off of your federal taxes as just kind of I guess the idea is you're already paying into the system. So what happened back in 2017 is this is a common conservative tax policy. It's the idea that what we need to do is cut rates but remove exemptions. So the idea is you lower all the rates but you remove deductions and carve-outs and exemptions. The idea being that people are theoretically paying less of their income, but there's fewer ways to evade taxes, and it's easier to, collect. It's also cheaper to, what's it called again? It's cheaper to administer it. So Trump had capped it at $10,000. So previously, I think it was unlimited. So if you could deduct, like if you paid enough state taxes, you could deduct like $1 million from your higher level taxes. So that's been raised up to $40,000. Okay, let's go through this. Okay, we have the no tax on tips. So I don't really get. I do always find this funny, the language they use for these. I know this is kind of like basic conservative talking points, but I like how tax cuts are a cost. Like the people are taking money from government. Like it's government spending to take less of people's money. It's like, well, the cost of this bill is costing trillions of dollars because we're taking less of the people's money. It does kind of just make the assumption that by default the money does belong to government. And once again, I'm not a libertarian. We live in a society. Taxation's obviously necessary. I just don't like the way it's phrased. It's like when people say Canada has free healthcare. No, Canada doesn't have free healthcare. I mean, I pay for it. I pay for it through my income tax and sales tax and stuff like that. It's government provided or subsidized healthcare. I just don't like sometimes what the language is. Okay, so create a new deduction for tips and overtime pay for workers making less than $150,000. So I believe that is okay. I'm not sure which one they actually went with, but if your total income is less than $150,000, your tips will not count towards your taxes. So you can make up to $25,000 in tips, and that is untaxed. Now, why are tips not income and subject to income taxes in the same way, like as everything else? There really is no reason. It was kind of a bribe. It was a bribe to get more working class voters to support Trump. Like, because I don't get it. Like, why if I make $80,000 a year in salary, why do I have to pay taxes on it? But if somebody makes like $80,000 a year in tips, why do they not pay taxes on it? Like, isn't income just kind of income? And the answer is it's just a cash grab. It's just to pay off Trump supporters, and it was a bribe. Maybe I'm sounding bitter about this. I mean, I'm Canadian, and yeah. I do like the exemption for some overtime pay. So let's see here. Okay. So we have car buyers to deduct up to $10,000 per year in auto loan interest for cars assembled in the United States. Okay, so that's interesting. So that's just tax deduction for buying American. That's fine. Who makes that many tips? People who work at casinos sometimes. Some people make a majority of their income from tips. So it's only the first $12,500 per person and $25,000 for married. Okay, that makes sense. I just wasn't sure which version of the bill passed. So okay, so yep, deduction on that. I just always, for a lot of these policies, they just seem like such, I don't know, like counting coppers or penny pinching or moving around the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's like, okay, we're gonna do that's 80K Canadian dollars, not freedom dollars. What is 80K in freedom dollars? $80K in freedom dollars is $59,000. So, yeah, it's like $20,000 less. Let's see here. Yeah, like it's okay. We'll give you a deduction on loan interest. So we're gonna make it easier for you to go into debt. That's like what they did in Canada, where Justo's plan to solve the housing crisis was to introduce 40-year mortgages. It's like that's the plan, is just to extend the period people are paying interest on. So I guess that makes sense though. Personal exemption, I don't really know how that works in the United States. I know how that works in Canada. I'll just skip over that. Let's see here. Increase the child tax credit to $2,200 permanently. So I think the current one is $2,000. So it's or let me see here. What was it at? $2,000. So we're going to give parents an extra $200. Once again, it's just, I guess it's nice. That's like not even really keeping up with inflation necessarily, though. It's they always talk about these policies like they're going to do a big thing, and stuff like that. And it's just, I know we get this in Canada all the time, so. 1% tax on remittances. I think that's actually good, but doesn't count for U.S. citizens. I think that is positive. That's good. Raise up to $10 billion. I mean, the money doesn't even really matter at this point in time because America is just financially screwed, and it doesn't really matter how much money they raise. Tax credit for metallurgical coal. That's always something I kind of wonder about or worry about. Is that environmentalists who like don't know what they're doing are eventually going to ban coking coal? So as you know, steel and probably some other metals, when you're making an alloy, you mix in the you need to add in carbon, which is generally done by coking coal. It's burnt in order to carbonize the iron. The issue is if they just wind up banning coal entirely, I worry that they won't make an exception for metallurgical coal. We have our first just random deduction. The bill includes an increased tax deduction for whaling boat captains. That's cool. I don't know. I don't really like whaling myself. Are there whales that aren't endangered species? Let me see here. There are whales that aren't endangered. Okay, there are actually a couple that are not endangered. Okay, well, that's something, I guess. But I don't know. I generally don't like. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest whaling fan. Let's see here. Okay, this is okay. Increased tax investment in increased tax is on income from college endowments, estimated to raise $761 million over 10 years. I remember like when I found out about that. I remember when I first found out about how much money universities have, because I was like in university and they were begging for money, as they often do. Like I need that money. I really, really do. I need that money to pay my bills. And they just kept asking for more and more money. And they're like, look, the financial crisis has destroyed us fiscally. We've lost hundreds of millions of dollars from the financial crisis. I'm just like, why would a university lose hundreds of millions of dollars from a fiscal crisis? And they're like, well, we had hundreds of millions of dollars of money that was just sitting in investment accounts. And I was just like, so wait a minute. You're running like a cash surplus. And in addition, you have hundreds of millions of dollars in reserves. that you're making money off of, and we're supposed to like be okay with that. I don't know. It's anyways. Yeah. So somebody I think made a good point. They said we need to take a field trip to look at some beluga whales, and I agree. I 100% agree. Let's look at some beluga whales. Uh, let's see here. They're one of my favorite creatures in the world. I don't know. It just looks so friendly. Like you just want to give one of them a hug. It's just their faces look like they have the like a permanent grin. Let's see. What's another? I don't know. I just if there's any excuse in order to like watch some beluga whales, then I will take that. So, yeah, there we go. I don't know. There's just something so like ethereal about them, like just how they're such a pure like white color. They just kind of look a bit otherworldly, but also like really friendly. Okay, we'll get back to it. It's enough beluga whales. So yeah, this sounds like cringe. Are these actually called the Trump accounts? Okay, so include the creation of Trump accounts, which allows for parents to contribute $1,000 on the birth of a child born between 2025 and 2028 and $5,000 a year, with the money growing tax deferred, with uses for higher education, job training, or down payment on a home. We have this in Canada. It's called an RRSP. Sorry, RESP, where people can put money into it and they get tax rebates to it. Okay, so I'm not sure how it works in the U.S., so let me just take a step back and talk about this. So in Canada, we have registered retirement savings account and registered education savings account. And what happens is when you put money into it, you get back whatever taxes you paid on it. So if I make $80,000 a year and I put $20,000 into my RRSP, I get back whatever the equivalent amount of money is that I would have paid on that $20,000. The idea being that you would take that money and then invest the additional money into the account as well. It's also just allows you to put money in and have it grow without being taxed for a prolonged period of time. I don't know how it works here, but like in Canada, I know with my RESP, when I took money out of it because I was a student with basically no income, I didn't have to pay any kind of taxes on it. So my parents and I, when I was like working, we put money in, we got a tax rebate, and then when I took it out, it's just a way to help parents save for post-secondary education. I think it's generally a good policy. I personally think that people should pay something for their education. I don't like the idea that people just kind of go to school and they just kind of sit around in post-secondary without contributing anything to it. So I agree with that. It's just in the U.S. it's kind of insane. But also in the U.S. it's weird because if you like start looking at state schools are more expensive than Canada, but they're not like insanely more expensive. Private universities, on the other hand, are like, I don't know what, like $50,000, $60,000 a year. But the whole thing is like there's so much in bursaries and school. It's a bit like with healthcare in the U.S. The actual money amount doesn't really matter. Sorry if this is a bit dry for some people, but I just thought it would be interesting. Well, maybe not. Maybe interesting to me just because I like policy to kind of go through and take a look at some of what's actually in this bill. Phase out clean energy tax credits passed in the Biden era Inflation Reduction Act. I have very mixed feelings about clean energy tax in general. To me, I would be supportive of like clean energy policies and clean energy tax credits if they were more economical. I just feel like in a lot of cases, the amount of environmental damage that's done by like wind turbines through like rare earth material, mineral extraction, metal extraction, issues with solar panel production and disposal, and a lot of things like that, and just to put them up often takes up as much energy as they wind up generating. So if they were, I think, more durable and more economically viable, I would be in favor of that kind of thing. But it's led to some major issues in Ontario. I tend to personally just support nuclear power and hydro where it's available. We have the United States debt ceiling raised by $5 trillion because what's a few trillion between friends? Let's just take a look and see countries by GDP. Let's see like what countries that is more than. Okay, let's see here. So it increases the U.S. debt ceiling by the economy of Germany. So we're adding a Germany's worth of debt to the United States. Nuclear energy is better for the environment. I mean, ultimately, we should be investing in fusion power. In Canada, it's interesting because most of our electricity does actually come from renewable sources. If you ever look at a map of Canada, we have a lot of like rivers and lakes and stuff. And it primarily comes from that and a bit from nuclear power. I don't think we use any or very little fossil thermal power here. Okay, so let's get into the pork. The defense portion of the bill would allocate an additional $150 billion in defense spending. Now, here's the thing about defense spending, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit lately. Just because I've been looking at a lot of Russo-Ukraine war stuff, and this also became just relevant with the whole issue with Iran, wherein cheap drones that are maybe $20,000, $30,000 have to be shot down with missiles that cost hundreds or millions of dollars in very short supply. And the issue is just a lot of the stuff the U.S. produces is just retarded. It doesn't work. It's overpriced. It's over-engineered. It's not really what's required to meet the military's needs. And whenever I think of like a project that would probably be a good like idea, it's just like, no, that wouldn't even be considered because it's not expensive enough. Like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? For like a B-52 successor, like, you should try to make something that is not fast but has great fuel economy and can carry a lot of weight. And you just try to design something around that, and it's basically kind of outside of its ability to launch missiles and target. it doesn't have like a ton of other bells and whistles, and it just kind of serves as a missile truck. And then I'm like, you know what? That wouldn't work because that's not expensive enough. That's not expensive enough. We have shipbuilding. I don't know how much that's going to be. The U.S. Navy has been through a lot of problems in recent years. If someone can refresh my memory, there was some frigate or boat they were trying to build as like a cheaper alternative that had massive cost overruns and turned out to be a shit show. We have the Golden Dome. Multi-layer defense system intended to detect and destroy various foreign threats, including ballistic, hypersonic, and cruise missiles before they launch or during their flight. I don't know. I still just don't find it. I still am just not sure if you can really shoot down hypersonic missiles, at least with any degree of accuracy or reliability. Thousands of space-based weapons or interceptors distributed around the entire Earth rather than a fixed dome. Where they will be... Okay, so it looks like they're going to put, like, missiles or lasers on satellites in order to just fire, like, to shoot things down. I don't know. I see a lot of problems with this. How are you going to reload the satellites? Like, if the satellites, how many missiles are they going to carry? Like 2 or 3? Like, America only produces like 500 Patriot missiles a year. They're going to like put dozens of missiles in each one of these interceptors. I don't know. It just, like, to quote Gordon Ramsay, you can't even get the basics right. Like, don't worry about like the fancy stuff. It's like, look, you're trying to make like I don't know, it's something, you're trying to make some like fancy French dish. You can't even cook rice properly. Your bread's soggy. Your fish is raw. Your chicken's rubbery. Your chicken's rubbery. Just focus on that. The U.S. can't produce enough basic weapons. Why are we getting into this like Golden Dome thing? I guess because it's like, it's good. I'm not gonna lie, and maybe this is just me being destroyed. When I saw Golden Dome, I kind of wondered if it kind of reminds me a bit of Golden Showers. So, $25 billion for munitions. I mean, that's badly needed, but are they actually going to build any of it? I don't know. Military innovation and artificial intelligence, including money for kamikaze drones, uncrewed aircraft systems, drone boats, and underwater drones. I mean, that is the future. Like, if they're going to be investing money anywhere, that's pretty good. Keep in mind that the U.S. defense budget isn't what it used to be. It's declined a lot, and I talked about this in my the video I did on the budget. It's much lower than it used to be. And here's the big one. The bill includes $170 billion on border security, with over 1 million deportations a year. I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know how many, like, Trump promised, but, okay, so we're getting the wall. We're getting the big, beautiful wall. Does that really cost $46 billion? I don't know. But the wall is probably going to get built. $45 billion for 100,000 new migrant detention beds. So 400% increase in detentions. Let's see. ICE can hire an additional 10,000 agents. That's good. Money for local and law enforcement to help with border enforcement. More border patrol. Let's see here. Border technology. I mean, that stuff is all good. That stuff is all I think good. I actually have no idea though, like how much they're spending now. Well, I guess ICE's spending is going up by tenfold. So I mean that's something. Like if you don't get anything else in this, uh, allegedly there's going to be border security and there's going to be deportations. Now, to be fair to Trump regarding the deportations, because that's I think what a lot of us were really hoping for. He kind of got screwed on that. Like it's some of the good stuff Trump tried to do just got blocked by judges, and I think deportations were one of those. So let's see here. $1 trillion in cuts from federal spending, primarily Medicaid. As work requirements for Medicaid for the first time, with individuals required to work at least 80 hours a month. There was no work requirements before. That's something I need to do research into at some point. How much work requirements actually matter. But at some point, they're going to have to do like if we were going to try to in the West restore some measure of fiscal like sanity, we would have to make huge cuts to the redistribution of wealth programs, and at this point, it's probably a good idea. Whatever cuts they can make. For those of you who aren't away, I'm just going to take a little field trip. So Norway, so Norway is actually a fairly large oil producer. Norway found quite a bit of oil in the North Sea, and so what they wound up doing is Norway basically put all of the oil revenue into the government pension fund of Norway. And they just put it all in. Norway has this giant sovereign wealth fund of $1.7 trillion. So that is the equivalent of over $300,000 per person. So they control, I think it's something like 1% of the global stock market or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, they decided to, but Norway wisely did this, and Norway just has this massive nest egg they're sitting on that continues to invest in businesses both there and throughout Europe. So I think that's kind of cool, actually. Interestingly, Norway does still actually have debt. I think what it is because Norway is like 100% good for it, they probably can borrow money at like 0.1% or even 0%. So it's probably worth it to borrow the money and invest it in something in their case. So that's probably why they still have debt. Let's see here. Prevent expansion states from using... Okay. Require minimum staffing ratios for nursing homes. I don't know about that. That's probably... necessary. Require a 5-year waiting period for green card holders before applying to Medicaid and reduce retroactive. Okay, so this is something like it's bad in Canada, but it's particularly bad in the poorer provinces. So people who move here immediately get, I think, 100% access to basically everything. So if they move into a school division and their kid has a disability, that cost has to be covered fully by the Canadian taxpayer. And because of what the Liberals did over the last the last decade, they flooded even like shitty small towns in like Manitoba and inner BC and New Brunswick, and they just flooded them full of like random people from the third world, particularly from the Philippines. So you'll have like school divisions where the number of students will go from like 500 to like 1,200 in the span of like 2 or 3 years. And the number of like kids with severe disabilities will far exceed that. Like it'll go, if students increase by twofold, kids with disabilities will go up like fivefold. I personally am convinced that the government actively recruits people from abroad who has children with disabilities, and they use that as a selling point. I would bet any amount of money that you could find examples of this. That they go to the Philippines and they're like, oh, your kid has autism. Well, if you come to Canada, they'll pay for it. Or your kid has like childhood diabetes. If you come here, they'll pay for it. Obviously, they have to pay for all of the ESL classes. Or no, it's not ESL anymore. We can't say ESL. It's EAL. It's English as an additional language. Sorry, Royalist Weave, just to correct you, I agree with you. Nursing homes are hellish. They do need more regulations or more support. It's bad. It's bad in a lot of cases. Limits premium tax credits for immigrants. Okay. Same case in Minnesota. Constantine says, "Yeah, no, it's like some school divisions are going bankrupt. They're having meltdowns. They don't know what to do with it. There's towns where like there's 1,000 people and like 400 Indians will just show up overnight and just take over. So many of them are, yeah, and then there's just crackheads everywhere. I don't know. For the rest of you, for wherever you live, how often do you guys see crackheads? Like, how often do you see like meth heads just wandering around, yelling at stuff that isn't there? I see that probably on a daily basis. It depends where I'm going. If I'm going like downtown, I'll see probably like 20 meth heads. If I'm going to the mall, I'll probably see about 5 or 6. If I'm just going to like work or on a walk or something, I'll still probably see like 3 or 4. There's a lot of like fentanyl junkies and meth heads in Canada. 400 Indians will show up and just take over. Well, I mean that's literally what happened. I don't want to go into it because it's too depressing, but immigration over the last decade has been just massive. Let's see here. Pauses ruling issued under the... Okay, what else do we have here? Reduce Medicaid... prohibit Medicare from being used to fund Planned Parenthood and similar organizations for a year. Well, that's something. I mean, I would prefer if it was like permanently removed, but at least they're defunding some aspects of it. I wanted to tell a story. So we had a meeting the other day, and this one Karen. I'm sorry for using a slur on YouTube, but this one woman who was the K slur was telling us about how she like feels that in our society we try to ignore things like that we don't want to see. That when you see drug addicts or schizophrenic people, you should talk to them. Like, she's just like, people try to avoid eye contact with them. They try to move to the other side of the street. They try to do all this other stuff. And they should just go up and talk to them. She's like, I make eye contact with them. I talk to them. It's like if you're in a restaurant and one of them stumbles in and starts yelling and they smell like piss and shit, you should let them sit at your table. And it's like, lady, you're fucked. My friend Torellian has been attacked by like homeless drug addicts on like two or three different occasions. They've just come in and just started wailing on him. Oh, let's see here. Medicare requires SNAP food stamp beneficiaries between ages to work. So there was this thing I found out about a while ago. I actually thought this was a joke. Is anyone here familiar with government cheese? Um, I used to be more sympathetic, but they've destroyed like public transit in Canada. Like they just clogged the buses and subways and stuff like that. And I know we should be sympathetic to it, but it's made like large portions of Canadian cities just smell like piss and shit and be no go zones. Um, so this was a thing where the government would buy excess. Oh no, they still do. The government will buy excess amounts of cheese and give it to food banks and food pantries, and I think it's also given out as part of food stamps. So I had thought that government cheese was like an expression or a joke or something like that, but apparently that's a real thing. I don't know. The more you know. Once again, I live in Canada, so I just never even heard of such a thing before. Here we just destroy. Here we just destroy. Oh, by the way, I just like to say, press F to pay respects for the Ontario Science Centre. So, because Doug Ford is a cheap asshole, he decided to shut down the Ontario Science Centre rather than repairing the roof because they wanted to build a new one. And I remember I went to the Science Center so many times as a kid. I must have gone like over a dozen times, maybe up to 20 times. But it was a beautiful place. There was all kinds of cool exhibits and stuff like that. But they tore it down because it was dangerous and they were too cheap to fix it. And now they're maybe gonna move it somewhere else. But I just wanted to give like a brief F for the Ontario Science Center, which was a big part of my childhood. Um, and now it's gone because we have to, I don't know, spend the money somewhere else. I think it is really a sign for the kind of things that our society like values. Um, that like stuff like that obviously gets axed. Uh, okay, cap unsubsidized student loan grants at $20,500 a year. So I don't know what that means. Is that supposed to give more funding to student loans or less? So does that mean that a larger portion of the student loan is subsidized? Or does it mean that like less of the student loan is subsidized? I'm not really sure entirely what that's supposed to mean. Restructures income-based repayments. The solution that a friend of mine the solution a friend of mine came up with is he thought that they should just freeze it. They should just eliminate interest payments on student loans. That was his compromise. Is they just remove all interest from student loans. People still have to pay them back, but they just put them on like a sane payment system. I don't know. That sounded like a decent compromise to me. Far from like the worst idea I've heard. You know what? Screw it. We're going to take a field trip. We're going to take a look at the Ontario Science Centre. Okay, let's see here.
It's arguably.
Uh,
You have to take a shuttle bus. The bridge has been closed for so long.
Yeah, there used to be like this big bridge that went over. There's a bunch of like really beautiful ravines in Toronto, and because they were too cheap to fix the bridge, they had to move they had to start moving people over by shuttle
It's
bus.
even noted on the map, but not too many other major telltale signs of decay. After entering through the back door and once inside, it's not hard to find the classics, like the hair-raising experience. It still draws lines. The Omnimax Theater is running strong, even if the main escalator outside of it isn't, at least when I drop by. You can catch one of the several 45-minute films throughout the day. Wander through the exhibits, you'll find older installations such as the swinging pendulum or the tornado generator. One of the things so synonymous with the Ontario Science Centre is the multiple levels that go way down into the ravine. Now, these are accessible through escalators. As you can see, they're still running. Heading up toward the amateur radio station and into the space section, for instance, you're constantly reminded of the beautiful natural surroundings inside and out. On this day, the outdoor learning area was closed, but the rainforest with its waterfall set against the aging...
Yeah, they had like a waterfall in there that they had.
...is still a must-visit here. So even as you walk through the building, yes, there's a lot of old facades, but look at spaces like this. This is the hot zone. Definitely embracing things like multimedia, visuals to entertain visitors. Another new space is the AstraZeneca Human Edge. It's focused on human health. Exhibit pieces include a look at mRNA vaccines. This device shows people how blunt force can impact the skull. As parts of the center sit empty, still signs of life in these halls. As for the future, Ford says...
Yeah, Ford shut it down because he's a asshole. But yeah, this was the roaring ball machine. This was like the big oh shit, copyrighted music machine that they had that like I don't know, it's just like a giant Rube Goldberg monstrosity, but it all had to be taken away. I don't know, it's just, to me it's just symbolic of everything wrong with Ontario and modern Canada in general, that we like can spend money on all kinds of other shit, but not on this. Really enjoying Liberal tears over this bill. It's the tornado machine. Let's see, where's the space place? Well, we'll get back in a second. Oh, we won't watch this entire thing. I'm irritated about this, and I just wanted to complain about it. Yeah, it was kind of a cool area. I mean, the building was like kind of this shitty brutalist concept, but it kind of worked for what it was. Yeah, I'm getting nostalgic. Yeah, you had this kind of cool walkway over one of the ravines. So let's go up. So I haven't actually been there in a number of years, just because of COVID and other stuff. But yes, we have the Great Hall, some exhibits there, the Innovation Center. Kind of cool. What's Rock Paper Scissors Hall? Oh, yep, the hair raising experience. The Science Arcade was always like where I like to go. So there's all kinds of like optical illusions here, and like there's the pulley system, and cameras and stuff like that. Oh, let's see, Living Earth. We have the rainforest and just the various other animals. Yeah, I know it's like kitschy. I know it's like a... It pales in comparison to stuff you'd see in Europe or in the United States. Like, it pales compared to the Smithsonian's, but I don't know. I just have a lot of affection for it, and I'm just sad that it's gone, and... You know what they say? It's not about whether you win or lose. It's about complaining on the internet. Okay, let's see here. House funding for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's probably a good idea. Rural Hospital Fund. That sounds fine. Coast Guard. Air traffic control. I remember a plane crashed at Pearson Airport where it was coming down in Toronto. And Will Stencil said, see, this is because Trump fired all the diversity higher air traffic controllers. And like, but Pearson's in Toronto. So I guess he thought that like maybe Trump's so evil he's able to fire air traffic controllers in Toronto, Canada. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. Maybe that's how it works. National Garden of American This is a weird one. This is something that Trump wants to introduce. A sculpture garden honoring the heroes of American history. So I'm not sure where this is supposed to be. Like where this is supposed to be built. Oh, Black Hills. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. Or no, is it near that? Is it in Black Hills? I don't know where this is even going to be, like, built. So... So yeah, so there's a list here. Historians complained about it. It was supposed to be like a mixture of political, military, pop culture figures, and stuff like that. I actually don't think it's like a terrible list, to be perfectly honest. I think they have a pretty good variety. Why Columbus is... Well, no, I mean, Columbus was American because everybody's American, but... Franklin Roosevelt, Albert Einstein, Rolf Waldo Emerson. Yeah, there's a pretty good cross section. I mean, this is a lot of people. This is going to be a really big thing if even some of these wind up getting put up. So the National American Garden of Heroes. Okay, increased spending on crop insurance. That's probably good. Auctioning off more spectrums, I guess. Whatever. Okay, region. So I think that's most of the big things. So if someone could maybe tell me, like, where is... So, people, is there a bunch of funding for Israel in this? And if so, where is it located? Because I didn't really see it. I mean, to be slightly fair, Obama was a two-term president, so it would kind of make sense for it to be there. So yeah, so some of the people, Republicans came out against it. Foreign aid spending. So yeah, I don't see where the Israel money in this is, unless like the point of the Golden Dome is to give money like to just build more stuff for Israel. So let's go down and see what they say. This is a little more of analysis. Let's see here. Cuts to Medicare and food stamps. I mean, it has to be cut. Like, and Social Security needs to be cut. It just has to, like there's no other way out of this. if the U.S. ever wants to balance its budget or start getting out of the hole that it has created for itself, it will have to make significant cuts to redistribution of wealth programs, or else they're just screwed. Let's see who will benefit the most. So it's the complaint is that this will disproportionately help rich people. Um, Once again, this is something I always see where they complain, "Oh, well, rich people are getting the most out of it. You're not cutting taxes on poor people." Well, poor people don't really pay taxes. I mean, that's kind of part of the issue is okay, so you're going to give tax credit. This is something I know when I was unemployed. They kept introducing tax credits to help people who are unemployed, and but I don't pay taxes. I don't make enough money because I'm unemployed. So what good are tax credits to me? I don't get the point. Other tax credits. Americans who live in high tax states will get a bigger income tax deduction. Let's see here. Okay, so it is the first $25,000 in terms of tax on tips. Jobs considered tipped. Okay, 12,000. I actually am fine though. Maybe this is weird that I'm a little more critical about taxes on tips being removed than taxes on overtime being removed. I don't know. A lot of people have to work shitty overtime jobs in order to make ends meet, and I don't really have an issue with that. Standard deduction. Let's see. SALT deductions, car loan interest, senior tax deductions. Once again, it's just such a joke. The whole $200 increase to families. Whoa, that's don't go nuts there, Trump. Don't go nuts. I mean, I guess it's something, but I think the Trump accounts are actually good. I think that is solid. Oh, I didn't see this in the other one. Okay, so there's private school vouchers. I mean, that's good. I haven't seen anybody talk about that. So that's good. Let's see, defense spending, border security, stealing from, taking money from private colleges, truck emissions, the postal service. I'm going to be honest, this doesn't really seem that bad. It adds a lot of debt on, but I don't see a lot of money going to immigrants or diversity initiatives or stuff. A lot of this stuff would actually help average normal, well-adjusted people. So I don't really think that this is nearly as bad as a lot of people were saying it is, to be honest. Let's see here. Cutting funding to that. Rolling back the green energy vehicles. Is that to get back at Elon? Is that cutting that? Let's see here. Oh boy, we're going to be slightly. Okay. There's no way that's going to be America's GDP per cap. Debt to GDP ratio is only going to go up by 7% over the next 9 years. Get out of there. That's not true. That's nonsense. It's going to be way more than that. It's going to be way higher than that. So that's the very beautiful bill. So let's see here. Science and industry, Berlin. Just trying to remember, just because we're talking about science centers. I think it's German Museum of Technology. Yeah. The German Museum of Technology is really cool if you ever get a chance to go there. It is absolutely massive. They have like a shed full of trains. They have dozens of aircraft there. Um, Actually, because I went to Washington D.C. in March, so I was able to see the what was it called again? The Wright Brothers play, and they still have the Wright Brothers play, and they still have the Wright Brothers bicycles, which is kind of cool. Let's see here. The kind of the cool exhibit they have there now is they have like this big exhibit on old computers. So they have like early mechanical computers. Let me see if I can find it. Just trying to find it. Yeah, so they have like all these like first generation mechanical computers and like tape decks and stuff like that. I don't know, I just thought it was cool like when I was there to take a look at like how elaborate a lot of these things are. Uh, what else was there? Yeah, they had like a whole like I don't know, like station train shed like full of trains. Like look at them all. I unfortunately didn't have enough time to go through everything when I was there, but it was pretty cool like they had that. Um let's see here. Yeah, so they have like all these. They have like a bunch of like first generation radios and televisions and other stuff that just never really went anywhere, which was pretty cool. Let me see here. Uh, okay. Yeah, so that's the like the air stuff that they have there. Like as you can see, it's just absolutely like like just the amount of stuff they have. Got like World War I planes. Let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, early commercial airliners. You can like, see inside of them. The other really cool one was let me see if they have the Spy Museum. If you ever go to Berlin, the Spy Museum is really cool. Because they have like well they have a bunch of cool stuff there. They have like one of the original Enigmas. um yeah, they have like the old school cylinders and stuff, first generation radios. Let's get to the cool stuff. Yeah, they have an original Enigma coding machine, two of them actually. It was really cool to see that in person. Then they have like Oh, they have so many gadgets there, so let's just slowly go through some of the gadgets. Now, what does this have to do with the big, beautiful bill? Absolutely nothing, but I think it's fun, so. Tobacco pipe pistol. Um, let's see, I'm not sure what that one is exactly. Oh yeah, there's a cool exhibit there where you have to find. They give you like a bug detector, and you have to try to find where the bugs are in the office within a set amount of time. Just try to see if I can find some of the cool. Yeah, so there's like a some stuff in a tube of glue. Um, that's a camera in a belt. There's a camera or a recording device in a wristwatch. There's a key case with a camera. There is I think that's a camera in a cigarette, which is kind of neat. That one I thought was really cool. The Marlboro camera, because that looks exactly like those old shitty disposable cameras that you can get. Then you had the one there. There's a lot of spy stuff in Berlin just because of where it is in the world. Lipstick pistols. The bra that has, I forget what it has in it. I think it was a camera or something like that. So, Massey wanted to gut border security just to own Trump. He unironically said they would stop if Trump would stop speaking out against him. He has developed into another Con Inc. Liz Cheney. It's too bad because, like, I don't know. I think Trump did Thomas Massey dirty, although him trying to gut the border security did not help. I don't think that was really a inappropriate response. Why is this Indian guy, or whatever he is, doing that? Yeah, they have the laser maze there. You can go and walk through the laser maze, which is kind of cool. Cool thing about Berlin is you can still see where a lot of the bullet marks. A lot of the older buildings have bullet marks from where they from World War II when the Soviets were storming the city. Have any of you, just if you haven't seen it, seen the Holocaust Memorial? The Holocaust Memorial is really weird. It kind of feels like you're in some, like, bizarre, surreal walking simulator. Okay, I don't just... Yeah, it's just all these, like, big concrete blocks. They have a computer, like an AI voice that reads out the names of everyone killed during the Holocaust, and it takes like 10 years or something to do that. Unfortunately, the Fuhrer bunker is over there's a parking lot over the Fuhrer bunker. Of course, they wouldn't restore that. It's right. It's pretty close to the Holocaust Memorial, actually. Um, just trying to see where they're going to show some video of it. Oh, okay. This okay. I have an origin story. Okay, so uh, so I spent like an hour trying to figure out what part of the Reichstag this picture was taken on, like trying to figure out the exact pillar that the soldiers stood on. It's not really marked anywhere, but you can kind of determine it. These buildings were rebuilt basically the same, but yeah, I spent like half an hour trying to. Yeah, the Holocaust. Yeah, it looks like the back rooms, doesn't it? Yeah. So I spent some time trying to figure out where that was, which was cool to see. That might be the Red Army flag. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, Brandenburg Gate is really spectacular in person. Let me think. I know we're like completely off topic. Did you know that Hungary that Budapest is built over a like a massive hot springs underground caverns, so you can actually go down into the caverns underground there, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I think that was where I went. Oh no, that's not where I went. Yeah, there's like spas there and stuff like that you can go to. Oh no, that's Buda Castle. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Constantine says Budapest was very nice. Was there in February? Oh, Budapest is beautiful. Did you go to the Buda Castle? Is really nice. But yeah, it looks like something. It's hard to kind of see in this, but they do have like this massive cave complex underground. Yeah, I didn't have time to go to the thermal bath. Buda Castle is amazing. It's one of the the best art museums I've ever been to. Just Budapest is such a beautiful city. Um, let's see here. Honestly, like just being able to see the Danube uh, was cool, and just to walk across the Danube, just because you hear some. Now I know it's kind of like ubiquitous to mention it, but um, we have to always bring up the Hungarian Parliament buildings, which are, I mean, there's a reason they're so iconic and famous. Okay. Why does it always have to be like all this shitty stuff like that? Why can't it just show me the fucking like building? I don't need these establishing shots. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's a spectacular building to see. Something I was really impressed by was how like the city is full of like all these old beautiful buildings, but they're all very modern inside. Like you don't miss any of the modern conveniences. Um, there's internet, there's electricity, there's like you don't get like weird old fashioned. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's I did not Constantine, maybe yeah, I took a riverboat ride. Constantine, sorry, maybe you know what I mean. Did you get what I mean by saying like the buildings are just gorgeous, but when you go inside them, like it doesn't they don't feel like really old buildings. They have all the like modern conveniences and modern layouts and stuff, which was kind of cool. Um, let me see. Where's the Mateus? Yeah, in Italy, everything feels kind of like old, and a lot of it's very run down inside. So this might have been my favorite church I went to when I was in Europe. This is the Matthias Church. So this was captured. So Hungary was occupied by the Ottomans. So this was turned into a mosque and then turned back into a church. So it's kind of this like really interesting mixture of styles. Like you can see there's Islamic influences, there's Gothic, there's Romanesque. There's kind of that Hungarian flair to it, that just little bit of Eastern to it. It wasn't there, but Constantine, did you see the relic of Blessed Carl? Because they have a relic of his at the main cathedral. Yeah, but like, just I don't know. Hopefully, you can kind of get some idea of it just looking at this. The interesting like mixture of just different styles you have. Hungary is a bit of a somewhat of a border region, so yeah, you just get it's just kind of fascinating. Uh, St. Stephen's. Oh, that's too bad. Let's see here. Let's take a look at St. Stephen's Basilica. Man, my hotel was literally like right down the street from it. It was I think 5 minute walk away from there. Yeah, it's a beautiful church. There was. It's also interesting to see like. Did you have some goulash while you were there? If you go to Hungary, you have to have some goulash and some longos. Longos is amazing. Um, oh yeah, the Fisherman's Bastion was kind of cool. This is like a That's the church we just looked at. This is like a fortification up on the wall near Buda Castle that you can go to. Granted, it was kind of cold and raining when I was there in October. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm kind of jealous of Europeans. Like they can just jump on a train, and in a couple of hours they get to go. Like they can just go see stuff like this. Favorite was the chicken paprikash. Yeah, there was a really good place I went for goulash. Also, just the breakfast they have at hotels in Europe are really good. Let me see here. What else was there? Uh, I think arguably the coolest thing that I saw when I was in Europe was I got to see when I was in Dresden. They had like a big exhibit of David Caspar Frederick's work, so I got to see Wander Above the Sea of Clouds in person, which was really cool. They have this gigantic armory there, which like this thing went on for it felt like it went on for miles. They had a whole like section of like trick weapons too. Let's see if they show it. Yeah, they actually had like horse armor there. Let me see if they show the trick weapons. Armory, Dresden. Dresden. So they had gun swords there. I'm just not sure. I just don't see a picture of it really. But yeah, if you ever get a chance to go to Dresden, Dresden's a pretty cool place. Uh, let's see. Is this just the same video? Dresden Green Vault. Let's take a look at. Let's see if they have it. It up. So there's a place you can go in Dresden. The vaults. So it was a series of rooms that was built around a different theme. So they have like a ivory room where everything's made out of ivory. They have like a gem room. Let's see. There's an amber room. Yeah, that's like from the ivory room. So all that stuff is made out of ivory. Like, look at all of that. Look at that. A whole ship. This is the one with all of the sea theme stuff. So we have all the like nautilus shells and the mother of pearl. Gold coffee service. Let's see. They also just had this massive porcelain collection that was kind of interesting. Let's see. Unfortunately, the Pergamon was closed, which I really, really wanted to go see the Gates of Babylon, but that wasn't there. But I couldn't. What was it? I think my favorite museum I went to was probably the new museum. Yeah, here we go. It was the ancient Egyptian. It was the ancient Egyptian one. Like I was just kind of shocked by how much stuff they had there and just the quality of it, like how intact a lot of that stuff is. No, they rebuilt Dresden to look pretty similar to how it was previously. Like they did a good job, I think, restoring it as best as they could. Yeah, so like the main hall looked like that. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. And you can look down, and there's all the sarcophagi. Yeah. Has anyone here been to the Low Countries? Because I'm thinking that's where I'm going to maybe go next. Maybe in the spring. I will go to... I went from Prague to Budapest. I just went directly to Budapest from Prague. Has anyone been to the Low Countries? Because like I want to go to like Amsterdam and Brussels and Bruges. Because it's like the main place in Europe I haven't been. I've been to Spain and Italy and Paris. But yeah, like that I thought was really cool. It's like this big obsidian sarcophagus. Yeah, so the Pergamon is like the apparently the best museum in all of Europe. But it was closed because it's apparently like falling into the river, so it's kind of too bad. Anyways, yeah, so that was the big, beautiful bill. Getting to see the Nefertiti head was also pretty cool. Um, so it's, yeah. I mean, a lot of people told me not to go to Berlin, but I don't know. If you like museums or like historical things, Museum Island is probably the best place in the world for that kind of thing. So, anyways, I think that's good for tonight. God bless everybody. Thanks for listening to my rambling. Try to have a good weekend. And in the words of the great Canadian